You're listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner.
Hey guys, it's Charge Hayner at Zoom the TBT, and we're completing or keeping going with our Columbus Regional preview by pod. And Charge, let's talk about this pod. We are in the lower left. What do you see here?
I see more talent. If anyone debates Columbus not being the toughest region in the TBT, I don't even know how I can explain it to anybody else. This is just another one that's going to be a fight. You got number 5 TMT, which is kind of more of the Team Fredette roots after their a little bit of a train wreck last year. So I think they're going to come back really strong this year. Team Hines, obviously strong team. We don't know who's going to show up, but they'll get the talent there, buy them there, whatever they got to do to show up with a good team. Brown and White finally making their TBT debut. They've been teasing at this for a little bit now, and can't wait to see what they put in. One of my personal favorites is the region, who they've competed in the TBT for a while, and a 12 seat's kind of crazy for these guys. Once we talk through their roster here momentarily, it's a solid team. So this is another pod in Columbus that's top tier that I can see any one of these teams coming out of here and making a run for it.
And it's really great because we've been really it's been a real pleasure to have all the guests we have. We have a slam-packed group of guests. We have Denzel, Gregg, a forward for Brown and White, joined also by the head coach, Dave Moore of Brown and White, Derek Howard, the GM of Brown and White, and Corey Moore, the GM of the region. Gentlemen, great to have you on. Thanks for coming on. Hope you guys are doing well tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
And let's just get right in these matchups. These are some really rich matchups. Let's start with this 5-12 matchup. And Charge, you were saying yourself, the region this is the best the region's been ever, really. It's a really reloaded, reworked, and just really ready to rumble team.
Yeah, no, this is going to be a very battle-tested region. Whoever comes out of Columbus, I think, obviously very high favorite to take the whole TBT. A lot of experience here, not only top talent, but as we go through this, teams with TBT experience. And this money team, obviously I mentioned them at the beginning. They're going to be a solid team. They're, I think, going back to their roots a little bit more. Last year they had the infamous game against Heard that I'm sure they want to get behind them and have something to prove. But they got no favors drawing the region. They were originally slated to be in Peoria, moved over to Columbus, so I'm personally happy about that. So I can see Marcus Thornton play live, and obviously we have Corey Moore on today. So tell us a little bit about your team, Corey, and how you see this matchup going against the money team.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm glad we got them. A couple guys that's on the money team I thought was actually going to play with me and decided to go with the money team.
Ooh.
So it's kind of payback for me.
Are you going to name names here? Who are you watching for?
Gerard Jones, he played with me twice in the TBT already. And I thought I had a chance of getting Jonathan Simmons because I got a huge Texas connection on my roster. And up to the last hour, they both kind of switched over to the money team. So
wow,
it is.
But it's all fair play because you snagged Donald Sloan right at the end too. So you got that going for you.
Yeah, I did.
So what's interesting, Corey, looking at these rosters, and again, this is an open argument about TBT, and I want your input on this because when you construct a team, you're not constructing 12 guys who can score. You're constructing guys that can play together, guys that have roles, guys that can run what you want to do. So is your team, which is curated from players work together, at an actual advantage against a team like the money team that's just an assemblage of talent?
I would think so. I have a couple of my guys I have connections with also, like 3 or 4 guys, we're kind of like family. So that always helps. They're familiar with each other. I know the money team. I got a kind of good idea. I think they're just going to try to show up and play basketball. And I'm hoping that's what they do so we can run right by them.
Yeah, when I look at your roster, and I don't know if it was intentionally built this way, but you guys are going to shoot a lot of 3-pointers, I got a feeling. So we got Donald Sloan, you got Marcus Thornton, you got Shannon Shorter, German, you got Doyle. I mean, you got some shooters on this team. So was that intentional based on some of your experience in the past in TBT, or these are just, guys that you're familiar with, they can play?
No, I'm starting to see, I noticed that guards win the TBT. I kind of see mostly teams who win it have great guard play. So I tried to go out and get at least 3 or 4 elite guards, but I ended up with 4 or 5. So I'm not mad at it.
You can never have enough guys to handle and shoot. You really can't in any level of basketball. So how much do you weigh on last year's TBT? Because obviously we mentioned if War Ready is the team with the most pressure from last year, the money team is the team with the most to live down. Their participation last year was they just crumbled against a herd that team that they were heavily favored against. Are you guys a little concerned that you're going to face a more determined team, or do you think you can find that wedge and pull off the same magic trick herd that did?
No, I'm not worried. Yeah, I mean, I'm 0-4, so I can't do well on nobody else's situation. I can only try to make mine better. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully they underestimate us, thinking, those guys haven't won a game and it's the same old region team that has been in years, and they kind of take us for granted.
Got it. Well, Corey, I appreciate you hopping on and stay on. We're going to get to the picks here shortly, but we're going to transition on over to Brown and White. And I don't know the X's and O's of the games as well, but if I'm the coach, just give the ball to Marcus Thornton, let him shoot it. Number 1 in can charge history for 3-pointers in a season. So just let him fire away and let's do that for me.
That's part of the game plan.
All right. I like it. All right. So Hainer, take us your thoughts on Hines and Brown and White.
Well, I will say what's interesting about this matchup is this is an alumni team that's staying mostly tight to be an alumni team. There's a couple of additions there. I'm going to start with Team Hines because we can get into our guests in a minute. The thing I think I was interesting about Hines is that all these guys played at a high level, but you don't know who's going to show up. Will Kai Hines participate in this camp or will he play? Is Nick Kalisis going to have an issue where the Olympic Greek team is going to need him? And then how do they backfill around guys if they don't show up? So obviously a lot of high level players, but what of this roster is going to show up? Whereas with Brown and White, we're assuming because they're alumni teams, they're playing for each other, they're a little more curated, which then brings me to, I guess we'll start with Derek Howard, the GM, actually. How did this first year team come together?
A lot of it was stuff that we built last year, and I thought we had a really good team last year ready to go. I had been talking to TBT for a whole year leading up to last year and getting this thing set, and then once COVID kind of abridged the field down to just 24 teams, we were left out, a few teams out. So we really didn't get to see that come to fruition, obviously. So a lot of the planning and the things that we had set in place carried over to this year. And there's still a lot of hurdles with COVID and testing and the vaccine threshold that we have, but a lot of the guys were still ready to go, ready to represent our school. And, guys like Denzel too have been great, not just as a player, but reaching out to a lot of the guys that he played with and getting them on board. And then of course we have a really, really passionate fan base. That's the advantage that alumni teams have, I think, especially when you have a super passionate alumni base like St. Bonaventure, willing to give, willing to donate, really active on social media, ready to get behind the team at all costs, buying tickets, that kind of thing. So it's, it is a lot of work the last couple of years, but I can't imagine how hard it would be without some of the help we had because we're affiliated with St. Bonaventure.
Yeah, and so we'll ask you this, Denzel. So I grew up in Western New York, so very familiar with the Bonnies and Olean. Not a real big city or town, we'll call it, but rabid about their basketball team. And so what is it about St. Bonaventure basketball and that crowd, and how's that going to motivate you to perform well in TBT 2021?
I think when you look at it, I think it's one of those things that it's kind of one of the reasons we all came and played at St. Bonaventure was just like it's exciting to be in front of that fan base. They always kind of got us revved up. It's one of the hardest places to play in the A10. So I think it'll bring back a lot of that energy for all of us, not just me, but all the guys we got on the team. And I think it'll be cool for some of those guys that didn't play at Bonas or necessarily get the chance to play in our gym to feel some of that energy too and feel what made us love it. So
yeah. That's a great point, Denzel. So looking at this roster you guys are playing, though, and I want to direct this to Coach Dave Moore. you're obviously facing, you guys are, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know. You guys are a credible team, a quality team, but you're coming as an underdog. How much of a challenge is it to scheme against a team that's not only guaranteed to be talented, but also might be amorphous in both style of play and roster construction? Like, how much is battling the unknown going to be a problem for you drawing up your whiteboard?
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge. The first game of the tournament, when you're not sure what the roster is going to be made up that you'll be playing against, and the type of players, the style of play, what they're going to be running, how they're going to play defensively. All that stuff is a challenge. I think, as a coach, you just try to get our guys ready with how we want to play. The tempo we want to set offensively, what we want to do defensively, how we're going to guard ball screens. Are we going to switch certain actions? I think with this first game, you're just focusing on what you want to do on both ends of the court. They got great players. They're going to have really good players, no matter who shows up. But the thing about it, it's not a 7-game series. It's a 40-minute game. It's a one-shot deal. If we get a couple guys get rolling, we got pros, they got pros. You get a guy get going, Marcus Posley gets going, Demetrius Conger gets going, Quentin DeCozy gets going. Like, we got guys that can get going. And if you get going in a regular game, a one-shot deal, anybody can win. And our guys are used to being underdogs and playing that role, and we relish that role. So we're excited, man, to go in there and play our best basketball.
Yeah, so being a first-year team, you guys do have some pretty good experience. You already mentioned Posley and Conger, and for you, GM Derek, obviously you guys were able to pick up Davion Berry as a grad transfer, and this is a guy who I think not many people know his name, but solid player. So how did you guys stumble across Davion Berry, and you guys must be excited to have him?
Yeah, our coach, other coach working with us, Steve Marcus, he was a grad assistant at Bonas, or a team manager, at Bonas for a few years. He's now coaching the St. John Edge up in Canada. So he has a lot of connections through guys who have gone through the G League as well with the Maine Red Claws. He's seen a lot of guys come through the G League, come through Canada. So he knew Davion. Kane currently plays for him, Kane Broom. Quentin DeCozy is a guy who one of our alums, Andel Cumberbatch, set us up with. Andel was going to play, but unfortunately he got injured right before roster cutoff. So he hooked us up with Quentin. So it's all just been about connections, basically. And we definitely have a lot of connections between all the pros that we have. Those guys have played with a lot of guys, and then our coaches have seen a lot of guys too.
So that's great.
Me and Kane actually played together me and Kane played together in high school. So it's kind of funny.
Oh, wow.
To get to play with him again. Yeah.
I thought that'll be fun. And that was you guys do a lot of pick and roll together since he's a guard?
yeah. I mean, a little bit of that. But
there we go.
It'll be fun.
So Denzel, obviously you played in Bosnia, and I'm always fascinated because people who watch the tournament have now finally started to understand that, like, there's good basketball everywhere. A lot of people think if you don't make the NBA, you're not a good player, which is absurd because there's only 450 NBA jobs. There's no other career where if you're 451 in the world, you're not good. That's nuts. If you're 451 in any other career, you're a god. So, like, playing in Bosnia, like, have you played some of these Team Hines guys before in Europe? And also, like, just what's it like being an American overseas in Bosnia playing? Like, what's that like?
I would say my last year in Bosnia was definitely a different experience as opposed to the others. But it was cool. We also play like a quote unquote international schedule. So we played all throughout the old Yugoslavia. So we were playing in like Serbia, Croatia, Macedonia, and kind of moving around. So it was a great experience. I mean, there's a lot of good basketball, like you said, everywhere in the world. And a lot of people don't know that until they get out and see it, or unless they go try to find it, whether it be online or via streaming or whatever that is. But I mean, it was a great experience, and yeah.
All right, perfect. So, hey, now that we got a little bit of a flavor for both of the games in that pod, let's take a look at the picks and see who we're all picking to win. So, TMT versus the region.
So, Corey, do you like our picks?
Yeah. You guys know something I definitely know, huh?
I'm feeling really good about that game too. I am feeling good about. I've got you winning in my bracket 2 games, Corey. Don't let me down. I went all in on you. I think it was 2 years ago, and we had a little bit of a hiccup there.
Oh.
So
I'm actually betting Chargers house on you.
Oh man, I appreciate it.
So obviously, so the other game, like I think it's credible, and I actually almost picked Brown White. I think it's gonna be a very good game, but I didn't have the statistical fortitude to make the call. So Denzel, tell me why I'm wrong not to pick you guys.
As the great Mark Schmidt would say, you got to have heart and testicle fortitude.
yeah, no, I feel really good about this pick too. I mean, obviously, a lot of St. Bonaventure, great fan base. Marcus Posley got Showtime their first TBT win ever, so I see Posley and the team from Brown and White doing more of the same this year. First year in, good energy, and I see this being the upset.
I like it.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah. Either way, though, it's gonna be a good game. What'd you say, Denzel?
No, I just, I laughed because I was happy that he's a smart man.
Charge? You're literally the first person to ever call Charge a smart man. So
I
we'll let it go.
I appreciate it, Denzel. Yeah, and Hainer is also offering alcohol to any teams he picks against. So, is that a one-time deal, Hainer? Oh,
if you beat the Volunteers or you beat Tubby Time, there will be booze in your room. I hate both those teams so much.
It's limited to the teams Hainer hates, but
so if you face the Volunteers, yes, there's a bounty on the Volunteers, 100%.
But I mean, just an incredible 14 pot here. Yeah, go ahead, Corey. You had something?
Yeah, so if I'm checking this right, I should be playing the Bonnies in the second round, huh?
That is exactly what's going to happen.
Have you guys? I mean, obviously you can't look ahead, but have you guys started scouting your second round opponents?
No.
You can't look ahead, right? It's just
one game at a time.
No.
One game at a time. One game at a
Right.
time.
We'll do that on Saturday on the day off.
There we go. That's how TBT works. Short turnaround. You win one game. It's just out of the frying pan into the fire. Okay, gentlemen, Denzel, Dave, Derek, and Corey, thanks for swinging by. We really appreciate your time helping us preview Columbus.
Thanks
Thank
for having
you.
me.
Having us, guys.
Go Bonnies.
Thank you for having us.
This has been Zoom the TBT, and we're signing off.
Hope you enjoyed listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hainer. Subscribe to YouTube, follow on Twitter, and give us your money.